This week's episode of Mind Gap Podcast is brought to you by Gentle Oats Oatmeal. It's a new year, and it's time for a new you. Let's face it, you're kind of fat, and you need all the help you can get. Let's start with one baby step, a healthier oatmeal. Oatmeal has been around ever since poverty and prisons were invented. But what you don't know is that every other oatmeal brand out there is making their product by torturing and murdering their oats. Your typical means of harvesting involves machinery that slices and beats the plant until seeds come out. Gentle Oats Oatmeal believes in a more humane practice in retrieving oats. Consent. Our oats are organically grown and not touched until the plant provides consent for harvest. Once this happens, our team members gently remove the necessary materials by hand from the plant. There are no barbaric methods needed for gathering our ingredients. When you take that first bite of Gentle Oats Oatmeal, you'll think, yup, this tastes like the time I spent up in state prison for grand larceny. But you can sleep easier at night knowing that the oats you ate not only helped you not eat something that will keep you on the path to diabetes, but it was also harvested cruelty-free. It's time to take a healthier and humane approach to your life. So pick up your oatmeal at select grocery stores today while supplies last. Tell the cashier at checkout that you heard about Gentle Oats Oatmeal on Mind Gap Podcast, and you'll get a free I Eat Oatmeal sticker that you can put on the back windshield next to your stick figure collection of your family, your half marathon sticker, and your baby on board sign. This week's podcast is brought to you by Elephant and Castle, located at 185 North Wabash and 111 West Adams in Chicago, Illinois. Look, I know you're looking for that perfect English pub experience so you can grab some incredible drinks and some tasty food. Elephant and Castle has you covered. They have excellent daily drink specials, happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., and some delicious food for you to chew on while you watch some sports. Come on down to Elephant and Castle at 185 North Wabash or 111 West Adams in Chicago, Illinois, and tell them that Mind Gap Podcast sent you. Good evening, kind folk! On today's episode, Doug and I confess our culinary sins by describing the most shameful meals we've ever eaten. Then we chat about why the fuck people keep asking Martin Scorcese about comic book movies when he clearly doesn't give a shit about them. And then we wrap things up by talking about how hard acting is. Seriously, it's hard. So lock your doors, draw the curtains, and wipe away your shameful tears as you eat cold baked beans out of a can and listen to episode 229 of Mind Gap Podcast. Doug, say the thing!
Mind Gap Podcast.
Rectum. It's a porn.
Rectum, I barely knew him. You want to play poker? Poker? I barely knew her.
Keep going.
I know there's one more. Do you want to... I don't know.
Do it with hot dog. Do you want a hot dog?
Hot dog? I barely turned the heat on. Give me another one.
Let's do...
I like this game.
Swine.
Swine! You're a pig. Why not beer?
Swine. You're a pig.
I feel like I'm winning this game.
I feel like now everything's like food-based or animal-based. Fertilizer.
Fertilizer? Yeah. Fertile.
I have a baby.
There's children.
Fertilizer. There's kids involved. I know.
Fertilizer, I barely knew her. We'll just keep doing that.
Go.
We'll just keep going right back to, yeah.
My favorite was swine. You're a pig.
You're a pig. Boom.
The Tom Hatter.
I don't know. You're a pig.
That's how I hear it whenever you're a pig.
Yeah, you are.
No, you are. You're a pig. Hey, so big news.
Uh-oh.
Fuck you, Drew. This is good news. Natalie.
It's not an attempt at an intro. A dull moment said this attempt at an intro is not going well. It's not an attempt at an intro. This is just Doug and I talking.
Yeah.
Literally just us talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember this, Drew? We would sit in our tiny office and we would just do this shit all day.
This was hell for you.
I thought it was great.
Not for you, for Drew.
I thought it was great for him sometimes.
I feel like he would beg to differ.
Well, then he would get up and go to the office and leave us.
Right. So, I think...
He would just naturally get up and be like,
Oh, well, it's still not going well, he says. That's fair. You've always given us honest assessments
The thing
of
I
our...
like about Drew is he'll always give it to you straight.
He will, yes.
Yeah. Straight in the rectum.
Wrecked him. Damn near killed him.
And we're right back in it. Big news.
Yeah.
Natalie got her first haircut.
What?
Yeah.
She hasn't had a haircut yet?
Nope.
Fucking hippie?
Almost 4 years.
Jesus.
And
How'd she do with it?
She was a goddamn champion. She was fucking fantastic.
Are you going to show pictures
I'm gonna
so
show
I
you.
can see
Yep.
and all you listeners can just shut it?
There she is.
Oh my! Is that after?
That's after.
Let me see.
And there's another shot right there.
She is so fucking next level glam in this.
Well, they also curled her hair a little bit, so those aren't
Dude.
natural curls or anything like that. But
She's so cute.
yeah.
Aw.
So we found out. Jill's like, it's time.
That's awesome. And also, they got a fucking N64 in this place.
Dude. They had.
Come on.
Yeah. This place
All right.
is not messing around.
I want to
Although-
go get my haircut at this place.
Yeah,
Jesus.
really cool place.
And they got crayons?
It was great for you.
Come
And when
on.
you're done, you get a treat. You get a little. You get to pick a prize.
Dude!
Yeah. Right.
Does this make you feel, honest question, does
Yes.
this make you want to grow your hair back?
No.
So you can go get a
Never.
haircut at this place?
No. I can save money on the haircut and go get my own treats at the store. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's not the same, man.
Yeah, every time I shave my head, I give myself a treat.
Do you? Mm-hmm. I don't want to know more about that.
What?
We're going to leave it right there.
I bake myself cornbread thinking other people in my house are going to eat it, and then they don't, so I eat the whole thing. Not at once, over time.
You know, by not liking certain things, your family is slowly killing you.
Yeah, because the other part of me, too, which I realize is part of my eating disorder, is I don't like to see food go to waste.
Yeah.
I feel like it's wasteful.
Oh,
so
sure.
I then
Yeah.
be like, well, someone's got to eat it. I can't just throw it away. And I'm
Right.
like, I just keep going.
It's a problem, man. It's a legit problem.
It's a real problem.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I made apple pie. What? No one else here likes just okay.
All right, then my apple pie.
This is natural, so it's gonna go bad real fast. So I got to get in on this, right now.
This is Doug apple pie.
Oh man, this is not
So
good.
she didn't cry during the haircut?
No, she was super. It's crazy because Jill, just like, it was a Friday. She called this place thinking there's no way it's going to be available. Like, yeah, we have some availability tomorrow. And she's like, oh, okay. And we hadn't prepped Natalie
Well, I can't
at
imagine.
all.
It's not like a high-end salon where they book out.
Well, they were only available for like 3 hours on a Saturday. So, like, it was very limited windows of time.
Gotcha. So it is exclusive.
I guess, for Saturdays.
Very nice.
And, we like to prep her ahead of time and stuff. We talked about it often. I'm like, we'll have to get a haircut soon.
Yeah.
So that night we're like, guess what we're doing tomorrow? She's like, okay. At first she was like, wait a minute, what does this mean? And we're like, yeah, whatever. But she was fucking awesome
That's
the whole time.
awesome.
She came in there. She was delightful. She followed instructions. She did a great job. And it was like, oh, look at you. Like a little adult now with your hair all
That's awesome.
nice and everything like that.
And we took her to the bank, opened up a bank account.
And we're like, hey, now you got to start prepping for taxes.
That's it.
So that's how it always goes,
Darkside says he feels the same way about food going to waste. So you're not solo on this, man. You're not
Darkside,
flying. You're not
welcome
flying
back.
solo.
Welcome back, pal. Good to see you. Yeah, it's tough, man. I don't like being that way. Not at all. It sucks. I've got eating problems, and that definitely doesn't help.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way about food. I do hate seeing it go to waste, but I'll usually, if there's an abundance of it, I'll bring it to work, and that shit goes real quick.
Yeah, but some of the stuff I can't really bring to work.
Like what?
Here's mac and cheese.
So bring it to work. I guarantee you, 100% guarantee you that people would eat that. If
Yeah.
you put that out with the spoon and like a bunch of plates next to it, gone.
Probably.
Gone by lunch.
Yeah, you're probably right. I guess I'm also too lazy to be like, I got to put this in a big old container.
See,
and then-
that's the thing where it's
Yeah.
trying to transport. It's the bummer.
Yeah. See, now something simple like cookies.
Sure.
Right? Fucking, that's fine. They're already in a big container. I'll
Right.
take them with me, whatever. Or a big bag of candy. No problem. I'll take that wherever we need to go. But something like a pie, I'm like, how do I package that? Because I also want to keep the container, and it gets hard to do that sort of stuff. But
Well, I'll mentor you on this.
Please.
Because it's not on air. Mm-hmm. I don't want to give my secrets away to everyone, but we'll work on it. We'll make you feel better about bringing stuff in.
Cool.
We'll help you figure out how to package,
Yeah.
how to bag, how to carry.
Thank you.
Where to put things.
Nice.
getting things back into the fridge real quick.
Thank you.
Yeah. I got you.
I need the help.
We're going to have to invest in some dry ice, though, for you.
Okay.
And some very large containers with rolly wheels.
Good.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Cool. As long as we're on the same page with that.
Totally fine.
Cool.
Yeah, I the other night I was proud of myself because we went to get barbecue, and I realized I'm going to order just a little bit for myself because Natalie will inevitably not finish her meal.
And so you're going to end up eating hers.
Exactly. So instead of doing the full thing that I usually get and then eating hers, I was like, no. I'm going to do the Black Place Special, which was a smoked prime rib, which was delightful. I finished that, and I was like, that's so good. And I'm like, just waiting patiently. And Natalie inevitably doesn't finish her macaroni, so I eat that. She doesn't finish her fries. I eat the fries. I'm like, I feel a little bit
And then
better.
did you feel, you're like, I'm satiated.
I was like, that's much better
Yeah.
than being like, let me get a 5-bone baby back ribs with fries and the cornbread. I'll eat all of that and then be like, give me what's left of your stuff too. So, yeah.
Does Jill not have the same thing where she wants to finish what's on the plate, or
For her,
finish what Natalie? I'm saying like
no.
Okay.
Jill's very particular about food in the sense of like once it's cold, it's dead to her.
Really?
It has to be a certain temperature.
Okay.
And once it starts getting cold, she's like, I'm done.
This is it.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked about this before. Now that you say that sounds familiar.
So like not only that, Jill's not super into things like macaroni and cheese. Like she's not really into it.
Yeah.
So, but especially if she was and it was like room temperature or colder, she's like, I'm not eating that.
See, that's where we differ.
Oh, 100%.
It's because I'm just like, how long has it been sitting out? Under 2 hours? Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, it's good, right? I mean, I have gutter palates, so it's
Right,
totally
absolutely.
fine.
One of my favorite things to talk about gutter palates we used to do is when McDonald's would have the 59-cent cheeseburger days.
Oh, God, yeah.
We'd make 2 runs. We'd go get our cheeseburgers, and then we'd go back, because they had a 5-burger limit. So you'd go to get your 5 burgers, and then you go back again, and you just stick those in the fridge. Then when you wake up in the morning, breakfast, baby.
Did you warm them up?
No.
Okay. So now it leads me to another good question.
I mean, sometimes you would. If
Don't walk back on what you just said.
If we got the junior bacon cheeseburgers from Wendy's and we fridged those, no. Cold JBCs,
Yeah.
so good. So good. The hamburgers from McDonald's, we would warm back up. But the JBCs, no.
So let me ask you this.
Because they had lettuce on it.
Can you tell me about a time you ate something, you ate something, you ate it knowing this is gross, what I'm eating, whether it was like uncooked or something like that. You're like, this is disgusting, but I'm doing it anyway, and you knew it. You knew it was something. I'll start.
I like how you had one in the hopper. Ready to go.
100%.
Okay.
And Jill watched me do this, and this is where she, to this day, brings it up, and I'm like, it's rightfully so.
The only time in your relationship where she questioned whether or not she made the right decision.
It also makes me realize how important parents are in your life in shaping what you do. So I opened up a can of Chef Boyardee ravioli, and I ate it straight out of the can without heating it up.
And how long ago was this?
I was in college.
Okay.
And Jill judged me harshly on that, as she should have. But I just popped it open, and I was just like, oh. She was like, oh, my God.
What are you doing?
Here's the thing. I saw my dad doing it. Because I've seen my dad doing that, I'm like, well, this is normal.
Right.
This is what people do.
Right.
Because I was like,
It's cooked.
I was like, it's going to take too long to warm up.
Because you had to consume it so quick.
I wasn't starving. It's not like I don't drink, so it's not like I was drunk. I'm like,
Right.
I just got to eat this now. I did that for a long time, too. Like several. That wasn't like the only time I've done it. I've done it a lot. But the very last time I did it, I actually felt pretty gross afterwards. And I was like, this is not how you're supposed to consume this. There's instructions that say, open, then heat up, either in stovetop or in microwave.
But that's just a suggestion. Hot dogs say the same thing, I think.
That's another one I would not eat raw as a hot dog.
It's not raw. It's cooked. It's fully cooked. You are literally just warming it for your own gratification.
Yeah, I don't think you'd just be like, here you go. Just like, no way, man. It'd be too cold.
No? I've done it.
I mean, yeah, I don't think I'd just take it right out of the fridge.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do that.
There's one time where
I take it back. I could. I
you
won't.
And you would if push came to shove.
Yeah, if it's like, oh no, I'd be like,
Right.
fuck it.
Doug, I'll give you $5. Okay.
Yeah, like, it wouldn't be like, guys, we're out of electricity, and all I have are these wieners. I'd be like, all right, fine, whatever. Oh no,
I'll help you
it's
out.
not like, will you eat this cat food to survive?
Right.
Like,
Have you ever tried any pet stuff?
I think I've tried a thing of dog food once, like the not like the wet food, but the dry food, because I was like, I remember as a kid I was feeling it. I'm like, this feels like salty and like spicy, and I was like, I'm curious. I was like, nope, it's not good.
Oh, wrong. Bad decision.
Not good at all.
I've tried one of the Beggin' strips. Not an entire one, but I had a bite of one.
Was it a lie?
Look, I'm glad the dogs like it because at least there's a market for it.
Oh my god.
And I tried a biscuit too, just like a regular like milk bone type biscuit. Just a little bite of it. It's for the dogs. I can see why this isn't something that people normally snack on.
Natalie's been getting these Scooby snacks.
Yeah.
And they are little milk bones.
Yeah.
That taste like, good
human stuff. Yeah.
And I remember I'd never had one before, and she's like, "Here you go," and I was like, my mind is like,
because you're making the association.
I was like, this is not okay. And I'm like, I took a bite. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. But I was like, I really was like, you can do it. It's fine. Put it in there. You can got it. Take a bite.
There was one time I took 5 pounds of raw hamburger meat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, there was one time I got.
What did you do with it?
Well,
I got a high class prostitute.
Right. I went to Vegas. No, I ordered wings from a place very near where we live, and I've gotten the wings from there before, and they're fantastic because they're not buffalo. They're something called sassy wings.
Yeah.
And it's got a nice kick to it, but it's sweet, and it's a really nice alternative, right? It's kind of like a sweet pepper sauce almost. I don't know how to describe it, but it's really good. But when I bit into the first wing, it was like straight up pink, and like it was it wasn't gummy, but it wasn't. It was almost gelatin. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, it was warm. It was like the chicken wing was warm, but it was full on uncooked chicken.
Okay.
But I really wanted wings.
Oh, no.
And that sauce tasted so good.
Oh, no.
And so I downed all 10 uncooked wings.
Wow.
And I should have gone back down and gone, hey, guys, this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
I didn't, because I'm like, at the time in my head, I'm like, I got to go back down there, and then I got to wait for more wings to be cooked. And it was such a monumental thing. I'm like, I'll just muscle through this because it doesn't look that pink. And like, I started convincing myself otherwise. And by the end, I did not feel great.
Oh, no.
And I have, to this day, I've only gotten wings from there. That was at least 2 or 3 years ago. I've only gotten wings from there, I think one more time since then. And I was like, it's been long enough, because I had like an aversion to it after that.
Did you get sick?
I didn't get, thank God I did not get like blasted out your ass sick. But I didn't feel well. We'll say that.
Do you think that was psychological?
What?
Like the not feeling well part?
I don't know. That's the thing. I mean, I'm sure some of it was the fact. I think a lot of it was the fact that I was very conscious that I was eating uncooked chicken, or undercooked chicken rather. It was cooked. It was just undercooked. But then the other time, then when I went back and tried the wings again, I was like, they smell good. I'm excited. And I took my first bite and I'm like, all I have is this memory of uncooked chicken. And these were fully cooked and delicious, but I couldn't get into them. So I think those are ruined for me. Definitely not something I should have done, though.
I've had that before where I've had a steak and it's a little rarer than I wanted. And I'm like, it's fine. It's totally
fine. People eat
fine.
Beef tartare.
It's like, it's totally fine. But I notice sometimes while I'm eating, like, I start feeling a little sick to my stomach because I'm psyching myself out. Like, you're going to get sick. You're going to get sick. I haven't. But I've been like, this is what I wanted. I start freaking out.
Yeah.
And kind of going back to that aversion thing, the first time I had Chinese food, I went to this Chinese buffet in my hometown, and I was just afraid to eat anything. So I just ate the Chinese donuts. Like this and I ate a lot of them, and I did not feel well afterwards.
Well, shocker, yeah.
And so that's what I associated Chinese food with.
Thank God you got over that.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then finally I had beef and broccoli, and it was the best from there.
Speaking of which, on a very off topic, you talked about going out to lunch sometime in the near future. There's a Chinese place that is legendary in our office.
Yeah.
That like if you go and you don't tell like a certain group of people, they won't talk to you for a week.
Oh, really?
Like it's good. It's
why can they not just go down there by themselves?
Well, no, but it's one of those things like if someone goes and like because it saves you the trip, right? Like if here, look, I'll throw you 10, bring me back this. Like if if you go and you don't like let this core group of like 4 or 5 people know, there's hell to pay. We need to go to that place.
Okay.
You will love it.
I'm down.
Yeah.
You and I are pretty close.
It's very. You remember Seinfeld, the Soup Nazi? Mm-hmm. It's very that though, where if you don't have your order ready, it's bad news bears.
Okay.
They won't not serve you, but it just gets so. It's like a bad game of who's on first.
Yeah.
And you're just like, no, I want. Oh shit! And then you walk out with like something you did not order, and that's happened once to me. I learned very quickly when Bob and I go, he won't order. He tells me what he wants, and he waits.
That's why they give you the money, because they don't want to go and order.
I will say...
There are a whole bunch of Dougs and Drews in that office.
I will say that out of everyone in that group, I am probably the most confident in going up and ordering. Second only... someone's very close behind me, but it's a gift. You've got to really work. You've got to want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just go up and be like, "Hi, I want beef and broccoli." Is that how they respond well to that?
First off, I'm very impressed with your spatial awareness to the mic. Like that was perfect.
See, I'm good in this room.
That was perfect.
It's not the other
other
room
one,
for me.
yeah.
I was like, I'm screaming into everyone's mic.
No, like the one time where
By the way, I did not cut that audio down at all at that part.
I love it.
I was like, fuck it.
People are going to get the full effect.
Yeah. Also, I don't think I could find it.
That's fair.
I was looking for a big spike. Didn't see it. I'm
Didn't
like,
see
whatever.
it.
We're good here.
This all looks pretty level.
I'm like, we're good.
I think the one time I went in there and I asked for, I got orange chicken. No, I was getting 2 different orders, and I was like, it's gonna be two orders. One of them orange chicken with pork fried rice, and one of them some noodle dish. We'll call it the some noodle dish. And so they put in one box half orange chicken, half some noodle. I was like, no, I wanted 2. And so they did another one with half orange chicken, half noodle. I'm like, no, I didn't want 2 of the same thing. I wanted 2 different orders. And it was just this thing where we ended up with like 2 or 3 containers, none of which had, like, all of it contained eventually everything we needed.
You guys just share, okay?
But it was one of those where I'm like, I will never make this mistake again.
See, that's actually one of the reasons why I don't like ordering,
Yeah.
like calling and ordering, especially with like Chinese restaurants, because the language barrier, it like makes me so
Right.
nervous and embarrassed, because I feel bad that I can't
You can't
somehow
articulate
I'm not
what- yeah.
communicating, and then they don't understand me. And
Right.
those are some of the worst moments in customer service, is when someone who speaks another language and I'm trying to communicate with them, and we both just give up.
Right.
I've had
Right.
that at the hotel where basically we stared at each other after talking and for 2 or 3 minutes attempting to just repeat myself.
Right.
And they're like, huh? I'm like, do this and that. And they're like, what? And then we just
And then
stare
you
at each
realize
other.
you're like, oh, this isn't getting better with
And
the
they're
more I
like,
repeat
they
myself.
look at me, they look at the map that I'm drawing from, and they just go, okay, thank you. And they walk away. I'm like, we failed
Right.
communication.
I didn't help this individual.
I feel terrible. Right. And now you talk about food.
Yeah.
That's a situation where if you gave me something and it was just a box of onions, I'm like, well, I guess I'm eating onions
Well,
tonight.
looks like
because
this is it.
This is my meal, because what am I going to do? Go down and complain to
Right.
someone who doesn't understand me? I'm
Right.
like, nope, just not going to do it.
Yeah. And now what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll just be like, oh, I like the orange chicken with the pork fried rice. And they'll put that together and go, also, I would like, and I'll let them close the box. Then I'm like, okay, one more thing. And then they close that and I'm
Smart.
like, one more thing.
Like, hold on.
I'm sure they hate me, but yeah, it's
whatever.
It's one of those where I'm like, now I know the trick to this.
But you're like, I get what I want.
Right. But now but the thing is too, like I'm saving them confusion on their side of, and I'm sure they're, to your point, like being on the service
Right.
side of that, you were frustrated that you couldn't, like there was obviously something going on and you couldn't figure out where the disconnect was. I'm sure they feel the same way. They're like, what does this guy want? Like we're doing what
Plus, it's like
we think
lunch
he's
rush.
saying. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff happening.
Sure. So
and
I'm
they're
like, all right,
what
let's
do you
just make
want?
this real clear.
Yeah.
I'm gonna help everyone out here. We're just gonna go
Yeah.
one thing and then go also.
Yes.
Let's do another one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because you're like, 2 things are like, cool, I'm going to do 2 things. I'm gonna
Right,
put-
because
yeah.
they'll do combos, and
Yeah.
like they think it's yeah. So it's just one of those where, but
combo.
outside of that, so when we go, you'll have to let me know what you want, and
Yeah.
I'll order it for us. Yeah,
Oh, that's so kind.
you're welcome.
That also reminds me when I went to a Chinese buffet in my hometown. One time I found this. I can't remember what it was, but it was something that it may have been beef and broccoli or something like that. And I got this big chunk of beef, and I thought I hit the lottery. I was like, nice. And I was like trying to chew on it. It was super tough. And I was like, and I realized it was super undercooked.
Oh, was okay.
A giant piece of meat.
It wasn't just like gristle or something?
That was like undercooked and everything. I was like, whatever. And then when they came to pick up my plate, the server looked horrified. And they're like, you tried to eat this? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh. And like she walked off. I'm like, oh, whatever. It's cool. I start eating. And then like the chef or whoever came by. They're like, we are so sorry. And I'm like, it's fine. They're like, no, that's not okay. They were like so apologetic.
Really?
They're like, because I realized they just gave like a half-cooked slab of meat and put it in there. And I was
that's
like,
so
this
weird.
is the best person that could have happened to.
Right.
Because I was like, it's fine. I
It's
tried
fine.
to eat it, and I couldn't. And they were like, they're probably like, we could get shut down, man.
Right.
That's not okay.
We need to fix this. Go apologize. Go apologize.
I was like, you guys are drawing more attention to it. You're just taking it away, and I would have known. I was like in college.
And then all of a sudden you just go, I would like a free meal off
I was
this,
like,
though.
I think I have diarrhea.
Where
Wink, wink.
is your bathroom?
Donde está
El baño.
el baño?
Right.
Thank you. I was like, biblioteca. That's not right.
El baño is in la biblioteca.
El baño is
Y la
in my
biblioteca
pants.
is in la casa de Juan.
There you go.
See?
Yeah.
Guys, that's how you speak it.
That's how you speak.
That's the only that kind of stuff is the only thing that I pulled from high school Spanish.
Isn't that a shame?
I think I have a deficiency where I can't learn a language.
I think you are the only person in the world that has that.
Yep.
No one else has ever had trouble learning another language.
No, but I'm like really cannot pick up on like through Spanish and through Milos tried for a while before he lost his patience to teach me Serbian, and I only came away with 2 phrases, and they are both like basically telling you to go fuck yourself. Yeah. I just for some reason my brain does not latch on to stuff like that, so I only remember like the pre 101 like entry level kind of things, you know. I learned more Spanish working in Connie's, working at Connie's Pizza than I did.
Well, because you could probably apply it.
And you know what? Honestly, that's exactly what it was. And I wonder if maybe that's what it is too.
Well, I mean, it's so funny because a lot of that way of teaching that stuff, it's not the way you learn. Because I remember I would take 50 minutes of French 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And then not use it any other time except in those 50 minutes 5 days a week.
Well, I've also heard native speakers talk about the fact that what they teach in those classes is not, you're like, I've heard people speak to the fact before where you're like, if you take what you just learned and go try to speak it, they'll understand what you're saying, but they're going to look at you like you're fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Because like that's not how people talk.
Yeah.
Like that's yes, those are the correct ways to say these things. That's not how people talk. Those aren't the words we use. Like we use slang and this and that. So really just immersing. I'm wondering like if I wonder if I could pick it up if I just went and lived for a year in a country.
A year, dude, I bet if you went there for a month.
Oh, you think so?
If you just got fully immersed in a month, no doubt you would pick stuff up. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Because
might not be fluent, but I could probably get my way around.
You could, if you just went to
shelter, food, and where do I go to the bathroom?
100%, and you just like hung out and you're immersed with like a family or something like that for a month, and you were just like talking and learning, and you would 100%. I think it's natural.
If you just hung out, family didn't know you just knock on their door and walk in.
You're like,
I'm hanging out with you for a week.
You're like,
and they go, okay,
like hola. That's as much as I know. Teach me.
That's where we're starting.
What?
Yeah.
It's fascinating to me too about how a lot of our culture and the stuff that we're going through now, like with Me Too and things like that, how little that translates to other countries.
Oh, like you talking like when like the actual like translation of what Me Too means,
yeah. It's so because also with like gender identity right now.
Oh, sure.
100%.
I didn't even
not
consider
translate
that.
because a lot of those other languages have a like female
specific or O, like A or O or L or La,
like and stuff like that. And
oh my god, I didn't even think about that.
So funny when I hear like comedians like Tom Segura talk about that because his mom is Peruvian.
Okay.
And he has some cousins and
I
stuff
wouldn't know that.
down there. You never guessed it. 'Cause he does this bit where
it just looks like a fat white guy.
It's so funny. He does this bit where he's like checking into a hotel, and he's like, Tom Segura, and the hotel guy's like, Segura. He's like, you Japanese? He's like, no.
Wait, so this was like, oh,
Tom was not saying that.
No, but the guy at the hotel
Yeah.
was also not like he's just a regular dude.
Yeah.
Not he was a regular white guy.
Regular dude.
Okay,
Just like-
so he went super. Oh my god, that's uncomfortable.
Because
Yeah.
I messed up. He goes,
You Japanese?
He goes, Segura. He goes, you Japanese? He goes, no. He's like, Segura.
And I'm
Segura. He goes, you're saying it like a Japanese person would. He goes, but it's not Japanese.
Right.
And the guy,
Tom's standing there going, I'm not sure what you're trying to do
he's
here,
like,
but
that's not okay.
it's not working.
And it's a hilarious bit where he blows this guy's mind about, how there's different people all over the world speaking different languages, even if that's not their native tongue.
Right.
The guy's like, huh? But he also has some cousins that are in also in Peru and Latin America and South America and stuff like that. And because you familiar with the phrase Latinx? Mm-hmm. So Tom was like basically saying, hey, you guys, you familiar with Latinx? And they're like, huh? He's like, Latinx, basically non-gendered, non-binary, and everything like that. And they pause and they respond with a derogatory word for a gay person.
Sure.
They're like a.
yeah.
He's like.
And you're like, he's like, no.
He's like, no.
No, you've missed this
He's
completely.
like, no. He's like, that is just indicative of the culture where they're like, yeah, we don't do that down here.
Right.
Like,
we don't do no Latinx. Yeah. No.
it's like 100% like, no, we don't.
Yeah.
That's not something that's down here.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating to me that those cultures. Now, in a way, it could be repressive. Like where is it? Tom's wife, Christina. I think what is she? She's Eastern European, and where did he go? He went to Budapest.
Okay.
And he's like, they do not like the gay people at all. He's like,
Really?
He's like, he showed up, and he made a joke about it where they were like, he's like, what's some cool things to do? They're like, I don't know, you want to go throw some rocks at a gay person? Like, it's just, they
Holy shit.
do not like them at all.
Wow.
Like, they hate gay people over in that area of the world. It's like,
I can just see
not
Tom.
accepted.
I can just see Tom like diving into that and like really just poking all their buttons.
oh, yeah. He's just like, he's like, huh? You want to do what? They're like, yeah, they don't like him over there at all. Wow. Yeah. So obviously there's cultures that are not accepting at all.
Well, I mean, and we knew that, yes,
Yeah.
but like just the fact that, yeah. Well, and that's interesting that the fact that a term for a specific set of people in a culture is not necessarily even relevant in that, or present rather, in that culture's home country. That's very fascinating.
When you think about non-gendered stuff too, because the language is so ancient and it does have these feminine and masculine sort of like, I forget what you call them, like the precursors to the word, or I forget what you call them, but basically letting you know that I don't know what they're called. But,
whatever, yeah.
But the idea that the L's and the la's and the le from I said the same thing, la and le.
You
from
had
French.
me, yeah.
I'm with you, buddy. Those are specific. Like this is considered a feminine word. Like Luna for moon is feminine, so it's like la luna.
Right.
If you say El Luna, that doesn't mean anything in the language. So,
El Luno,
yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where
The boy moon.
the boy moon, and now like some folks are like, we need to get rid of this,
So they're trying to
gendered language.
fundamentally change the
And
language.
I think a lot of people are like, no.
Can you imagine what it would take to fundamentally change a language that's been spoken for thousands of years?
I mean, that's a monumental task.
That
right there.
would be amazing to witness.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think we're doing it in our own way in the U.S. by getting like non-gendered bathrooms.
Sure, yeah.
I think that's our approach.
Small
right
steps,
now.
yeah, and
Small steps where it's like, hey, bathrooms,
forward,
just
yeah.
wash your hands, like sort of situation. But yeah, to be like this whole language is going to be like no more L and la. It's like it's just this thing, and I'm like, you think about the generations of people that speak that. It's like there's this new way of saying it now. I mean, it would have to take.
It would take at least.
Oh yeah.
I would say solid at least 3 generations for it to be fully like phased in and embraced.
Well, because you got to think about that is like there has to be a generation. There's a point where it's approved.
Right.
It's not going to be unanimous.
No.
So the people that don't disagree, that do disagree with it, are going to have to eventually die off.
Yep. And
then other people are going to reinforce it, and it will take so much time
Yeah.
to be able to get that done. I don't think anyone wants to put that effort in right now.
Right. That's just very.
What's your legacy? I started the change to non-gendered language. I'll never see it come to fruition.
But that's the thing, though. A lot of change, though, from a serious standpoint, a lot of people who start change on that fundamental of a level don't get to see
100%.
Things come to fruition. And so, like in that regard, like just knowing that you've kicked this wave off would be, I think, in and of itself, would be kind of, again, legacy creating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for some of that stuff, it's, I think because some of these things, you just know it's going to take time and you just don't know how long it's going to be.
Right.
Obviously, we set up 3 generations is how long it's going to take.
Right. This is just
and we're like, well, I'm generation 1, so.
This is our scientific non-estimate.
Yeah. Well, obviously, like civil rights or things like that, people are
Right.
like, we're going to fight for the change that's going to be needed for the future, however long it takes, whatever. 100%.
Well, if you look at to the point where, Jesus Christ. I mean, if you look
What
at
about
like
him?
how long that
What about why you always got to bring him up?
from just before the Civil War all the way up through the civil rights movements of the 60s and 70s, like how many years was that? You know what I mean? Or how many generations was that?
Sure.
That's a whole nother
Like just let's we're gonna keep going. Gotta keep.
And that, not to change a language, but just to get a section of people basic human rights. You know, like that. Like now you're talking about fundamentally changing something that's in the fabric of something that's been around for thousands of years. That is the way that people communicate to each other. That's a whole different ballgame.
Well, I would
That's
argue
crazy.
getting people to treat another group of people like humans is probably more difficult than changing a language.
Well, yes, I'm just saying something. It's yes.
I'd also argue slavery's been around for thousands of years as well.
Well, that's fair. Look, you're right. I concede that was short-sighted of me. You're correct. Yeah.
No, I'm just being silly in that regard. But it's not an easy thing to change those the minds and that sort of stuff. And just it's fascinating how some cultures are open to that and some are like, nah, we're not doing that.
We're good.
We're good. We're fine the way we are. There's not enough drive based on the culture to be like, you know what? And this may be a controversial statement as well, but I'm going to say it anyway because I feel like this is a safe space. I feel like in some of those countries as well, every people's day-to-day worlds are so chaotic in a way that's like, are we going to have food today? Or do we have water? Or, oh my God, the government is throwing a coup like it's a ball and trying to establish power. Inflation's through the roof. I don't think those folks necessarily have time to debate on things like whether or not gender neutral or stuff like that. It's kind of one of those things where I forget where I heard or I read this once, but it's essentially like we have it pretty good in the U.S. Life's pretty good, even for the worst of us, and to the point where we can actually take a step back because our lives are, you and I can come and do a podcast in a wonderful dungeon. And, we have the free time to do this and pontificate, think about all these different things. We're not worrying about when we're going to get our next meal, whether or not we're going to be able to walk home safely tonight because there's a militia out there or anything like that. So we have the luxury to then consider and debate things that I would say, I don't want to say they're less important. I just say they're less maybe essential to day-to-day life. And not to say that someone who's struggling with this or feels like, you know what, my gender is, fluid or I feel X, Y, and Z, that is important. But we have the luxury to talk about that and feel like that. Whereas if we were trying to hunt for our food every night, it's not something we would really discuss.
Yeah, I can see that point. It's one of those where you have to make sure that you are able to see the next day in order to kind of go deeper and like see who you are as a it's that hierarchy of needs, right? Like, do I have food? Do I have shelter? Am I in danger?
Yeah,
like immediate danger. And then if that's all you're operating in day to day, I just need to make it literally to the next hour.
Yeah,
and then the next hour after that, and the next hour after that. It's moment to moment. It leaves very little room for much of anything else.
Yeah,
and and we were talking about this prior to the podcast, but just how heartbreaking it is just to know like how much of the world is just in disarray right now, and like it doesn't look like it's getting better. Like It's
very much like that in two things. One, Battlestar Galactica talked about this before. Essentially, it's got Earth and all these spaceships and stuff, and then all of Earth except for 50,000 people are absolutely exterminated. So now you have 50,000 people surviving on a handful of ships, and all of a sudden, the only thing you're concerned about is surviving against these robots.
Right.
So all of a sudden, you have someone who, they're part of a religious group, and they got pregnant, but they want to have an abortion. And the president basically says, hey, I'm all for women's rights, but we have 50,000 people here. You've got to have the kid. You cannot have an abortion.
We have to repopulate.
We got to repopulate. This is super duper important. So situations like that where it's like, hey, I don't want to work on the fuel ships anymore. I want to go work somewhere else. It's like, tough shit, son.
Right.
Make the fuel.
I want to make movies.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a caste system. It's like, this is unfair. It's like, yeah,
right.
A lot of things are unfair. Make the fucking fuel.
Right.
Tough shit. It's like, it's not fair. I was born on this ship. I'm like, sorry, we don't have time to argue about that. Make the fucking fuel. Or the other one, which is The Dark Knight. The Joker tells Batman people are only as nice as the world will allow them to be. You know what I mean? Or he says, I'll show you. I'll make them eat each other, and he does. He shows that he shows that fear. All of a sudden, people are afraid to be in the city, and what happens? They go back to their tribal nature. They go back to their more primitive nature, and people aren't talking about the stock market or promotions. They're like, oh my fucking god, cops are getting murdered, innocent people are getting murdered every single day. Right. I'm afraid for my life. All of a sudden, your typical social debates kind of go out the window at that point in time. So it's kind of wild in that regard. Yeah,
I mean, putting those obviously in context of fantasy movies, but like it's the conceptually that's still relevant. Of like if you strip away everything and take it back to you're just on a fucking straight up survival level. Those 1, 2, 3 needs. A lot of shit changes. Yeah. A lot of shit would And
I say again to that I'm not knocking this. I'm celebrating in a sense that we are in a spot where we are safe enough to consider these things and consider identities and where people fit on that spectrum and what they think they truly are. I think that's a good thing.
I think it's a fantastic thing. I think it's something that is necessary. I think that's something that is necessary globally as well. Like in the places where the people are just surviving, they should have absolutely the right to sit there and figure out who they are as a person, and really what am in my heart of heart, who am I?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's one of those things where you're talking about like an inalienable human right. Yeah. Like I honestly think that is one that doesn't get lumped in, but it should. That's just a right to literally say who are you?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Joker,
oh man, you took the transition right out of my mouth. I love it.
Speaking of the Joker,
I was going to say, speaking of changing people's minds, you know whose mind's not going to be changed?
So the first time this happened, I didn't say anything on the podcast because I'm like, whatever.
Doug mentioned it to me in passing, and it was one of those where we talked briefly, and then that was it.
But this is the second time this happened now, and what I'm referring to is people keep asking Martin Scorcese his thoughts on superhero movies, and this guy just doesn't give a shit.
Right.
And people...
It's well known that he's not a fan of them.
He doesn't like them.
Let's leave it at that and move on.
I find it hilarious because the first time was someone asked him his thoughts on the Marvel Cinematic Universe and how it's doing. And he basically was like, it's not cinema. And people were fans and stuff were losing their minds.
Oh, they lost their minds on it.
They're like, what do you mean? And then all these directors were basically like, look, everyone has their opinions, right? Guys like Jon Favreau were like, hey, man, I'm only able to make movies today because this guy started making movies, so he can call it whatever he wants.
Right.
Some people are like, whatever, man. It's to each their own. And it was kind of like a big nothing story.
Right.
Where everyone was like, whatever.
Scorsese says, fuck Marvel. Yeah, and it's like, nah, it's not what he said, but he also doesn't like it.
He's just like, whatever. And then the most recent one
Drew doesn't like Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And we accept that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But then someone asked him again, they're like, hey, have you seen the Joker movie? He's like, yeah, I've been trying to get around to it, but I'm really busy.
Right.
But I saw the trailer.
Well, I think what he said is he goes, I'm aware of it. I've seen some clips, so I know what it is.
He's like, so basically, why do I need to watch it?
Right, I don't need to see
it.
I get it. I get what this is.
And again, people are like, ooh.
Right.
And Todd Phillips, the guy who directed the Joker, he's like, he loves Scorsese, and I bet he feels blah, blah. Scorsese's just like, it'd be like asking me, Doug, have you seen the most recent version of The Grudge, I'd be like, no. And I haven't seen the original because I've seen The Ring. I get it.
I know we're getting at. Yeah.
I got it. I don't need to see it. I'm fine. I don't need it. I don't need it in my life.
I just think, I think it's one of those where someone of Scorsese's, stature in the industry, someone who holds that kind of weight, obviously they're looked at for their opinions, and they're looked at as kind of like, one of the elders of, if you want to put it in tribal terms, they're one of the elders in the community.
Yeah.
And so obviously their opinion holds weight for people. But at the end of the day, he's also a 70-something-year-old man.
Yeah.
And these movies aren't necessarily for him. Yeah, I'm sure some 70-year-olds like it, but basically it's our age and younger that like it. And so you're asking, like, if you ask my grandfather, he'd probably go, the what? Yeah. Yeah, no, I haven't seen it, Is that the new Al Pacino movie? Because that's how he pronounces Pacino.
Scorsese doesn't seem like the comic book reader type to me.
No.
Doesn't seem like he's a big fan of Hawkeye and Captain America and whether or not Thanos, saved the world.
He's busy making his... Scorsese also doesn't have time to watch superhero movies because he's making 3.5 hour fucking way too long movies for Netflix.
Have you seen that?
No! I haven't. I don't have the time to take off work, Doug.
I've had multiple people, I told them I've seen it. They're like, is it any good? Is it worth watching? That's what everyone keeps asking me. Like, is it worth the time commitment? I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
In most cases, I'm fine to sit down for a 3.5 hour movie. But, again, it's funny because you pulled that quote where Scorsese was butting heads with execs over some of his movies, particularly The Aviator, where they're like, you have to make this shorter. And he didn't like it.
He's like, I don't like making it shorter.
Apparently, he's had trouble with this in his career.
He doesn't necessarily, since The Aviator, he almost quit the movies after that because he was like, I don't like the studio system anymore.
Yeah.
So that's why Netflix was so refreshing to him, because they were like, you have carte blanche to do whatever you want with your movie.
Yeah.
And he went, yeah. But he is returning back for his next film to, I think, Paramount or something. So he's going right back into it. But it's funny that the studio system were like, hey, man, you really need to cut this down. It's like 3.5 hours. He's like, fuck you. It should be what it is.
The Aviator felt like a long movie, too. Like, that movie was real. I remember watching that being like, oof.
Okay, we get it.
I guess at the time I watched it, too, I didn't understand what it was about. Or
airplanes.
I understand it was airplanes, but I didn't understand. I'm like,
really
why is
what
this?
These things are.
I was like, why is this guy crazy? It's like, this is the guy that. This is how he was. He was obsessive compulsive.
He was a real guy.
Germaphobe, and I was just like, this is weird. He's got pee in jars.
He's acting funny.
Yeah. He's talking about the wave of the future. I don't understand.
Yeah, I just think it's one of those where people love the drama. It's all of our news cycles, be it sports, be it entertainment, be it actual news, be it whatever it is. It's all 24/7, and so the entertainment world needs something to buzz about, and so. When you know it's something that's going to draw a pull quote like that, you're gonna get that quote, and you're gonna blow it the fuck out of context.
I'd also love to hear the way he said it too, like the tone, because you can read it like I get it. I don't need to see it, but I'm like, it's like reading the transcript of a comedy show, right? A stand-up.
It's all about the timing.
You'd be like, this doesn't read good at all. This don't read good at all, man.
This don't read no good.
No way.
Yeah. It's like when you're in writing class at Second City, did you pull out some of the classic Second City sketches?
Yeah.
And you read through them in class, right? And it was one of those where I'm like, oh, these are funny, but really I bet they were hysterical when you saw the people performing them. Like if you saw Tina Fey and Rachel Dretch do the, what was the one? It was, they played a mother-daughter pair in Boston.
Yes.
And she was going to go buy her some ice cream. It was a specific funny name of the ice cream.
Yeah.
And you read it and you're like, oh, I see where this is funny.
Yeah.
But if you see them perform it, and there's a clip on YouTube, it's fucking hysterical. It is hysterical.
And see, that's the thing. My brother and I were talking about this when
I
he
got
came
to look
to
at what
visit
the fuck it is now.
When you're talking about what makes something powerful, because at the end of the day, this is what I love so much. I have so much more respect for acting now. Unlike that guy from the New York Post who just loved how Ricky Gervais just tore into people.
New York Post is just a fucking joke of a.
That guy was like, "Fuck Hollywood, man! Nobody likes me." But the thing that I like about it is someone saw words on a page, and they were able to take that and find a way to deliver that in a meaningful way, and everything from the physicality to the why is my character saying this, how they break it down, and that means everything, especially in comedy, right? Because comedy's all about timing.
That is like the cornerstone of comedy,
right?
yeah.
How fast do you say your next line? Do you cut into it?
Right.
Do you leave a pause? Like, what is it? And again, you just read it on the page. It's like, okay, how do you bring this to life? And that's what I loved, even just, watching The Witcher.
Fribble. That's what it was.
Fribble.
Ma, we're gonna get a fribble after this, right? You're gonna take me to get a fribble? And like, it's a funny word, so you see it, and you're just, but yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
because also in that script, do you think it was with Boston accent or no?
Oh, it was, yeah, 100%.
Was it specifically stated like this is a Boston accent?
I think they set the scene in Boston, yeah.
All right, cool. Because
Yeah.
I was like, if that was just a choice that they made and
Right.
they ran with it, I was
Yeah.
like, even better.
No,
because,
I think Fribble is an actual ice cream shop on the East Coast, like
Gotcha.
in the New England area. So I think that's where they were pulling it from. Some time they spent out there, or whatever. Yeah.
Gotcha. But I mean, it's being able to, I was recently watching The Witcher, and there's just a couple of scenes where these characters, they get mad at each other, and they're looking to hurt the other person with their words.
Right.
And you're like, oh shit. Like, and it built on itself so well, like the responses, because they kept escalating each other. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make something up. It's like, yeah, well, that wasn't so good last night. Your sex wasn't so good. He's like, well, what do you mean it wasn't so good? Well, you didn't say anything last night. You thought you was fine last night. Yeah, well, you know what? I found out you were cheating on me. What? And it's just like, it goes on to the point where it's like, you got a tiny dick. And it's like, yeah, well, you're a whore. It's just like, and you're like, by the end of it, I really just made that scene awful. But by the end of it, like, they are just going for each other's jugulars with their words, everything that they're doing. And but those start as words on the page.
Right.
I'm like, cool. I want you to really hurt this person with your words, and how do you get there and deliver it in a way that's really meaningful?
Right, and that's where the art comes in from behind it too. Yeah,
and that's what I love about that, because when I took my acting class and I had to do the scene with like my wife that I'm separated from and everything like that, I was I can't get myself there emotionally to be that vulnerable, because it's like, I hate you, but I'm still sexually attracted to you, and I'm cheating on you, but I'm mad that I'm in here, and you're in here, and whatever. And it's a complex thing of emotions that I could not unpack well at all. And I was just like, burn. I'm like, I can shout. That's all I'm good for.
That's also the part of acting where you look. I like to now, when I see someone in if there's like a scene where it's a real close up shot and the person is having an intense emotional reaction, if they're crying, if they're whatever. I like to put myself on the opposite side of the camera and try to picture the camera like 2 feet from their face, sound guy holding a boom mic, director and cinematographer looking from behind the monitor. You've got grips and gaffers standing on the side, lighting above your head. You've got you got a PA holding coffee, waiting for them to call cut. You've got all of this stuff is there, and this person is so fucking checked into what's happening in this one little itty bitty moment, and they're just emoting. And I'm like, how do you get yourself there? I don't think I could do 2 or 3 takes where I had to just like snot coming out of my nose cry. Like that's the impressive part. When you look at that and you go, why do actors that's why. Yeah. That's why they celebrate, because that's hard to fucking do, man.
I think a lot of people look at this like athletes in a lot of ways. People are like, oh, look at them. They're just up there playing pretend.
Right.
How hard is it? It's just like watching someone throw a football.
Right.
40
How hard
yards
is
down
it?
the feet, or kick a field goal, right?
Right.
I could kick a fucking field goal.
He just threw that ball and like thread it right in between that other,
People are like, oh man, they just play 16 games a year.
Right.
That's no big. It's like, you realize this is what they do for a living.
Right.
They're everything from their nutrition to their workout regimen to everything they do. They live their craft.
Right.
And what they do. And what they do is not easy.
Well, again,
at all.
with actors, you could say, well, how hard is that?
Fucking hard,
If
man.
you've watched a bad performance, you know how hard it is. Because if you were to get up on stage and do that, my friend, that's what you would look like. So that's how hard it is. Like,
people are like, no, it's such a wooden actor. It's like, you try doing that.
Right, exactly. Like when you see a bad performance, you're like, oh boy, this is fucking rough.
Yeah, well, no, just because now add an extra layer of difficulty and have it be something ridiculous that you're trying to do.
Right.
Like, the thing that comes to mind is
fucking Iron Man or Captain America.
that, or Masters of the Universe, that
Sure.
Dolph Lundgren one.
Yes.
The guy who played Skeletor, that dude went for it as Skeletor, as like the ultimate bad guy with this ridiculous outfit on, all this sort of
Right.
stuff. And he's like, yeah, I'm scared. Skeletor! He's going for it. And
Just got into it.
And this is like a high-level actor, right? Or you've got, some of my favorite parts,
Can you look up who that was? Who played Skeletor?
Let me take a look.
Yeah.
But even some situations where you hear them, like, just talking, like, they got to talk, I call it the nonsense.
Okay.
They're like, this here is Galacor. He's on the planet Xenon.
Oh, yes.
He's on
Like
the Interplanetary's Red Notice. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and do an extraction on the port side of the bow, and then the port side of the bow. But they're saying a whole bunch of shit, and people are like, yeah, we understand what's
when
going
John
on.
C. Reilly and was it Glenn Close who were in?
Guardians of the
was
Galaxy?
it Glenn Close?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, so two like fantastic heavy hitter actors. Even though John C. Reilly does comedy, but the two of them together. And they have to talk about Novacor and this other alien race that's invading our planet, and our planet's called this, and we're going to this system. And
it is.
You look at these people and you're like, you've got to fucking buy in full on.
Well, that's why.
Because if they don't, it's so noticeable.
Well, that's why I laughed with Bill Burr in The Mandalorian.
Sure, because
he makes a couple of comments.
Space Boston.
Where he's basically like, this thing, this is our ship. It's not great, but it doesn't, it's not like a Corellian cruiser or some hunk of junk like that. I'm like, huh? Like he had to like say these lines.
Frank Langella.
Thank you for getting
Thanks, Darkseid.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. Because I'm like, it's not working on my phone.
We got to lean in our Twitchers.
Thanks, Twitchers.
Thank you.
But there's also a point in the Mandalorian where they're describing like who Bill Burr's character is. Like they're like, oh yeah, he used to be with the Empire. And he's like, he used to be they said he used to be a sharpshooter for the Empire. And the Mandalorian goes, well, that's not saying much, meaning that. Bill Burr turns around and goes, I wasn't a stormtrooper. Like, you're so angry. Like, no, I was a sharpshooter. I wasn't a stormtrooper. But for him to turn around and deliver that line.
Right. Again,
I'm not a stormtrooper.
Knowing that he probably has no idea what that means.
No clue.
No reference point of typically stormtroopers are terrible shots. And it's laughable because, like, the fact that he had to dial in and deliver it to the point where you're like, he knows what this means.
For him, he's like, imagine someone talk shit about the Patriots, and he's just like, no, or whatever it was,
right?
Or similarly, I had another one that was like that. Fuck, I lost. Jude Law and Captain Marvel. There's a part where they're about to go down to that planet right before Captain Marvel gets captured, and he's like, all right, listen up. Boop, boop, boop.
Right.
And if the hologram comes up, he's like, here's what we're going to do. And he's like talking about all these things. I'm like, you are speaking a bunch of nonsense gibberish, but you're making it seem important and intense. And I'm like, God bless you, sir, for being able to do that.
Look at Colin Farrell, Johnny Depp, Jude Law, Ray Fiennes, any of the classically trained actors that showed up in the Harry Potter universe.
Yeah, right?
Pick one, and they're all going nimbity bimbity, obliviate.
I love
Expected Patron. None of this makes any
Alan
sense.
Rickman going like, you've been going through my stores again.
Right.
Don't think I haven't noticed. Lace swing fly. Like just naming these ingredients.
And this gravitas coming from him, and you're just like, oh man, you had to buy into this.
Because that's the other thing too is object work with magic and stuff.
Yeah,
I saw some of the set stuff where Elizabeth Olsen was playing.
I was just going to reference that.
And she's just going,
like where they're protecting the core in Age of Ultron, where they're protecting the core. Yes, and she's trying. And she's just pull.
Yeah,
it looks so ridiculous.
It looks now that too, and
you have to feel safe enough on set to go fucking ham.
It's like
because
they're like, all right, here's what we imagine you're doing.
Right.
Okay. You're shooting these little things out of your fingers and whatever, and you're like, you gotta feel it, and it looks great.
Like if you want to rip one apart, we'll put it in post, and a robot will rip in half, and you just tell us what you're doing.
The other one is Game of Thrones behind the scenes stuff, like with the dragons.
Yeah,
where what's her name is just like on this thing, or like the dragon's trying to nuzzle her, and it's like some dude with like a horse on a stick. And it's like, and she's like, "Oh, Drago, my beautiful." Like you have to imagine you're riding a dragon, not some green CG sofa. That you're like, fly.
Right. It is so like that. And you want to talk about acting being easy? Go ahead and jump into that scene, and you make me believe it.
Josh Brolin as Thanos.
Right.
Like, he's there, but he's got all this shit on his face.
And he's wearing a dowel rod with a Thanos head, like a cardboard cutout Thanos head attached to it 3 feet above his head.
Exactly.
And he's walking around, and people aren't even looking at him when they're acting. They're looking at the cutout for eyeline.
Yes.
So he's acting to someone's chest, basically.
Yep. Or Andy Serkis in Force Awakens.
Right.
Like when they're talking to Snoke in the Great Hologram. He's way, way on top of this thing, shouting down to them so they have an eye line and they know what's going up. Or Andy Serkis in King Kong, where he actually, like, dressed up like a gorilla and was like, to get, what's her name? Naomi Watts, like, to give her some sort of reaction.
Andy
to play with
Serkis is one of the most committed actors in Hollywood right now. And I say that because to do the kind of CG work that he's done since Lord of the Rings or prior, my God, you have got to be no shame. Just be like, look, I'm totally comfortable with who I am because I'm gonna crawl around and make the voices and the faces and I'm going to be as weird as possible. And guess what? When it comes out in the end, it's going to look fucking great.
Have you seen him as, like, Gollum? Like, when he's, like...
when he's crawling over the rocks and stuff.
He's basically just got a onesie on. Like a white onesie.
Right.
He's like...
And his face is just popping through it. Yeah.
He's like, precious.
Right.
And you're like, oh, my God. Or Benedict Cumberbatch as Smaug.
Oh.
And he's, like, slithering
He's
on the
floor.
The
ground, and he's doing his
like,
head.
You're like,
If you guys want to see, that should have been the Doug Watches Awkward videos.
I've seen that. I was like, oh no. This is really hard to watch.
Oh, my God.
Because can you imagine being in that room being like, did we get it?
Right.
Please tell me we got it.
Look, Benedict, you're cut. Okay, so look, you're doing a great job. First off, super happy with your choices. Can you make it a little bit more, I don't know, serpent-like?
Serpentine. Can you be more serpentine?
And he's just like, sure, got it.
He's like, got it. No problem.
And then, like, to actually, just again to have the freedom to do that, I got to give him credit. I would honestly, and I say this, I would love nothing more than to have that kind of openness. To be able to do that and feel good about it. And you hear him talk where people are just like, you feel like, I've heard like Christian Bale talk about, like, on set you just feel sick. I'm running around in a rubber vulcanized suit, a vulcanized rubber suit, with a cape and a mask, and my eyes are painted black. I feel like an idiot. But you just got to get through it, and you got to trust the process and this. And
I feel like for stuff like that, it's easier now than like when I watch A New Hope for Star Wars. I'm like, this was the first one,
right?
And I'm watching people in the Stormtrooper stuff that we love nowadays, or see Darth Vader. I'm looking at it through the eyes of someone who's never seen it before, and they're like, "What the fuck are we doing? A lightsaber?"
Right?
Like, and people are like,
"Well, that's why Alec Guinness, when he was just like, I don't want to do this." Don't make me do this. And they're like, Al, trust us. It'll be great.
Yeah, right?
There's no way this is going to be great.
Oh, here's a little droid that comes up. It's like, eat. Like, what?
Right.
What are we doing?
What the fuck is this?
That's another one, too, where they're like, you got Han Solo talking about how he's putting in the calculations for light speed.
Yeah.
He's like, do you think light speed's easy? Apparently it is, according to Rise of the Skywalker. You can just jump wherever you want, to any planet you want.
Right.
Just saying. Anyway.
We're doing the whoop-de-warps, right? That's what they...
Whoopity-warp. But it's like him just like rattling that stuff off, and they're talking about this stuff, and they deliver it in such a believable way. Like, this is a guy who knows this way.
He's been
around.
doing this for a long time.
He's like, we made the
Kessel Run in 12 parsecs.
Yeah, he's like, it's the same one that made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs.
Right.
It's like, what? But again, that's to their talent. They can read it, and they're like, they're like working with the director to be like, how do you want this read? Another good one, the guy who plays Dr. Kelso in Scrubs, historically had no idea what the jokes meant. No clue. He's like, I didn't understand 90% of the stuff that I said. All
the references went over their head?
I didn't get any of it, but he just knew how to deliver the lines.
Fucking amazing.
Incredible. He's like, I don't get these jokes.
Wow.
But he knew how to do it.
That's a testament, A, to his ability, and B, to the casting director.
Right.
To be like, look, we trust that we know this guy's going to be able to pull this off.
Exactly.
Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I see that sort of stuff.
Jesus.
And it's just like, I hear those kinds of stories, and I'm like, that is so incredible. And it's such appreciation. And when something comes out, I try to be like, okay, maybe I didn't like that, but I can appreciate someone giving it a shot.
You're right.
Putting themselves out there, putting some emotion to it, and and whatnot. What's really hard is just watching like shows that Natalie watches. She found a new one, Justin.
All the bubble bears and stuff, and
I don't know what it's called, but it is terrible. It goes in between, and this is the thing too. Natalie wanted to watch PJ Masks, and she's like, "No, we're done with that." She goes, "Pick something else," and then opened the door. Natalie saw something else. She's like, "I want to watch that," and Jill was like, "Fuck."
So it's the devil you know.
And I came down and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Because it looks like it's on par with that Ladybug show.
Ooh.
As far as like how it looks. But here's the thing. I don't understand the world, and I'm a curious man, Justin. And I told Jill, I go, if this is on,
Douglas.
because Jill's like, she'll put on something and Jill will read. I go, here's the thing. If I don't know what this is, I'm not going to be able to read because I want to figure out the world. Because here's what happens, Justin.
Get into it.
First of all, I don't know if these are ants or fairies or elves or what the fuck they are.
Right.
But they're CG and they're weird, and I don't really know what's happening. There's also somehow a unicorn in it. I don't know. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the episode, the CG girl, her bracelet starts beeping. She goes, "I'm sorry, guys, I got to go." And then it cuts to this girl in the real world. It's like a live action thing. I was like, what just happened? And she walks outside and tries to talk to a dude in overalls who I expect is from Alabama, but no, he has a British accent. And I'm like, what?
You need to tell me what this show is.
I don't know what
No,
it
I'm
is.
saying when you go home, you need to figure it out and text me because I want to watch it.
Dude.
We need to do a full-on breakdown of this show
I
next
don't
podcast.
want to.
We're doing it.
Because
it's too
I'm
bad
like,
we're doing it.
I was like, what is going on? Okay, first things
I'm into
first.
this show. I'm putting Breaking Bad and Mr. Robot on hold, and I am fucking I'm binging this show.
I was like, okay, where'd you get this bracelet that allows you to go to whatever this fucking world is? That's for one. Number
It's
two.
the world of make-believe, Doug.
I was like,
Mr. Rogers taught us about this.
Second of all, what is this world? Are they ants? Or what are they? I don't understand.
You know what you have to do? You've got to look up some old school shows for Natalie. Ones that made sense, like Big Comfy Couch. My sister was so into that. It was a clown named Lunette and her dolly, and they had adventures. That was it. Most of them revolved around a giant comfy couch. It's a very simple concept, and you can read.
You can read.
While it's on. There's the Big Comfy Couch. There's Blue's Clues. There's a ton of these fucking things.
See, I don't even mind.
Bananas and pajamas.
I don't mind Spirit. That's one of the ones she likes. I'm like,
Okay.
let's watch that. I was like, I can even handle PJ Masks. I can turn that shit out. That's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. But like this is, I'm like, in the Ladybug one, I would just catch myself peeking up being like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, what is this? And I'm just trying to figure it out. I can't.
You know what you
not
should
figure
do?
it out.
You should ask. This would be a fun. You might want to record this.
Okay.
And say, I think this would be a fun little series.
Mm-hmm.
When the show's on, ask Natalie to explain to you who this is.
Nice.
Why does she do this? Or how come why
like
is she
this.
talking to the guy? And like, it'll be helping her kind of build, brain. Two,
Nice.
You get some quality content.
I think what I might do is I might have her summarize each episode.
Okay.
Because, like, for example, with Spirit, she has specific ones that she likes a
Yeah.
lot. And I might be like, hey, Nat, what happens in this? I'll
Right.
just let her tell the story, and then I'll
Yeah.
share them on here.
I love that.
That sounds like
I think it'd
so
be
much
fun. We can
fun.
put that. We can post that as some extra bonus content on
Yes.
our Instagram.
Natalie's
or something.
summation of episode 1, season 1, episode 1 of Spirit. Like
I'll tell you what. We'll make an intro for it. This is
the
gonna
intro,
be good.
the intro will probably be longer than her explanation.
Absolutely,
but
it
it'll
will be.
great.
Yes. Oh, I like this. I absolutely
amazing.
like this. I thought of another example of the people like throwing themselves into something.
Yeah.
It's called the Throwdown. So Jared actually, before he had to run to a meeting, he brought one up,
Ooh.
which he thinks is quite interesting. He said, "Let me say this." He brought it up as a joke.
Okay.
I'm going to take it and I'm going to amend it. He'd said, how about Scorcese versus Iron Man? I was like, well, obviously Iron Man, because he's got weapons and a suit of flying armor. But that being said, what about Scorsese versus the director of Iron Man, Jon Favreau?
Ooh, well,
Now we're
Favreau-
talking, go ahead.
I was like, go ahead. No, you go.
We're talking Fat Favreau versus younger Scorsese.
Well, I feel like Fat Favreau's got still
Yeah?
upper hand, because I don't know a whole lot about Scorsese's background.
Okay. He's a filmmaker.
Wait,
No lie.
what? Favreau obviously has some acting chops.
Sure.
So he's done some stuff.
Scorsese has at least been in one movie. Not like starred in, but like he's had a line.
Said a line.
He's had a line.
Hey, said a line.
Oh, he's had a line.
So I feel like just physicality wise, I feel like Favreau, even in Fat Favreau mode, I'm sorry, obese That doesn't make it any better.
Morbidly obese.
I'm sorry, deathly obese.
Right. We'll call him Food Favreau because he's into food now.
Yeah,
he's actually becoming quite the little chef.
Yeah, he is.
So yeah,
just like the movie Chef.
Right. Have you seen the Netflix? Incidentally, the series he has.
No.
Where he actually the chef that consulted with him on Chef. They have a cooking show where they bring people in. Like Bill Burr was on one, and they make Bill Burr's like, just want to make that fucking grilled cheese sandwich you guys made because that was fucking. You were right in the fucking zone. You were looking at it. You had the oil. You had the cheese. Like he broke it down like a sports thing. Yeah. You've got to watch that. It's actually a good show. But anyway,
actually, one of the guys that I get all my cooking stuff from, he's on there too. He's a guest chef on one of the episodes.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think maybe in the first episode.
I love that. Yeah. They sit down with the Avengers cast too.
Oh, of course they do.
Well, some of them. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
But I'm gonna say I think Favreau just not only does he have size, but he also has some physicality. Because I mean,
don't get it wrong. Scorsese's a little ankle biter.
Okay.
He'll tie you up.
How?
Oh, he'll run around your legs. You'll be a pretzel by the end of that.
Is he like Luke on Hoth, just going around?
Yep.
The
That's
AT-AT?
it. You got it.
The AT-ATs.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
No?
I feel like Scorsese just seems frail. He seems like, don't worry, it says back. You're good.
This is the AT 2020. So for when you said AT, I'm like, are mics the AT-ATs? Because that would be awesome.
I was like, Justin doesn't know which side his goes, just like this guy. I think Favreau, I think he's just got size. He's got physicality. I mean, he's done stunt work in the Iron Man movies, alone, so.
He's done stunt work?
I mean, he's been in those
He's
situations.
thrown himself off buildings?
Well, I mean, he's fighting in those scenes. You know what I mean? He had to train to some degree. So
okay.
Whether or not he was.
You don't think Marty does Krav Maga?
No.
Really?
No.
Okay, I believe that.
He might do yoga. No, he wouldn't do yoga.
No, he would
He'd
not
be
do yoga
He'd
at
be
all.
like, I've seen it.
The thing is, though,
I've seen clips of it, but I got it. I understand it.
I got it. I don't need to do it. I got it, guys.
I see women in yoga pants all the time. I feel like I got it.
Yeah, guys. I live in Beverly Hills. What are you doing? I think the one thing I would say is though he has he's long studied mob tactics. Tactics and fighting styles
that no longer work
where
in
you
the
just
modern
have
age.
a gun and you beat him on the back of the head with the handle.
I mean, if he brought
is that a handle? The handle of a gun? Is that what it's called?
I mean,
if
he brought a gun to a fist fight, then yeah, I give it to him. So I mean, there you go.
Look, the mob doesn't take chances.
It's that's the Chicago way.
That's the Chicago way.
Yeah, I think if it's a straight fist fight, it's got to be Favreau.
You give it to Favreau. Doesn't matter, young Favreau, old Favreau, or young Scorsese, old Scorsese. You think all the way it's
all the
Favreau?
Way Favreau's
yeah.
got him.
You don't think Scorsese could take those glasses and like you do a beer bottle, like break them on the side of a table, like take the glasses and shards of glass.
You have glasses.
I do.
Has that ever?
Not nearly the size of Marty's.
I don't feel like that would have the same effect as a bottle.
I don't know, Doug. I don't have Marty Scorsese glasses.
I get it.
I can't
see mostly
make these distinctions.
Yeah. Well, not that. Then he breaks it and he can't see. So
touche, honky.
He's like, I'll take.
He's got backup pairs. He just pulls out the backup pair from his inside jacket pocket.
It's like all of a sudden, Favreau just goes, "You sacrificed a killing stroke for sheer footing." He punches him in the face because he can't see.
What? Who said that? Who said that?
He's just throwing his voice around.
What do you mean who said that? Me, Marty, me.
I'm right here.
I said it.
He's like, I'll kill you, motherfucker.
Oh,
He's like,
Christ.
I'm over here.
Right. Turn around. Nope, too far.
All right, hold on. I'll put you out of your misery,
right.
you old bastard.
I'll tell you what. I'll lay down and give you a fighting chance. So we're saying Favreau for the win?
Absolutely.
Favreau for the win!
Do.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you.
Thank you.
Justin, what do you got to recommend this week?
Oh, boy. Breaking Bad's pretty good. Check that out.
I hear it was pretty good. That show, MASH. I hear that's a pretty good show.
I feel like it's going to have a good run.
Someone should pick that up.
Yeah. Run with that.
All you got?
That's it.
Awesome. I have a board game recommendation for all the little ones out there. Mandy had said that my recommendation for Hoot Owl Hoot was a good recommendation. I've got another one for you if you've got their kids out there that are ages 5+. It's a great game called Memory Palace. And the way that it works is that you lay out 16 tiles, and each of these tiles has a different depiction of a room in a house. And then you have these little circles that have animals on them. And the objective is to take them and you shuffle them up and you take a coin and that has an animal on it and you have to pick a room and you have to tell a story as to why the animal is in the room, and then you put it face down. Also, there are 3 memory monsters that you put in there, and if you forget where the memory monsters are and you flip one over, you lose. So the idea is to put all these down, and then you have to remember and say what animal is in the room, and also try to recount as much of the story as possible.
Ooh, that is a fun game and a fantastic game for children.
Fun. Natalie fucking loves it.
No shit, yeah.
And every day she's like, "Can we play the animal game?" I'm like, "All right." She's not really good at telling stories. Every story is, well, the penguin loves its mama, and that's my story. And then she puts it out. I'm like, okay, why is the penguin love? Why is it in that room? I have to kind of ask her some additional questions because ultimately, when she goes through the gas, she's like, "I don't know what's in that room." I'm like, it's because you told a shitty story, just like Rise of the Skywalker.
Because this is
Get it together.
God damn it, Doug. I think it's fantastic though because you're building that muscle for her though. Like you're helping her exercise that muscle, which is fucking great. We never have to have another Rise of Skywalker.
It was designed by a guy who actually has worked with people to help regain the memory. So this is a great thing not only for her for memory but also for storytelling.
Yeah, man.
Which is fun.
Yes.
Make believe and all that sort of stuff. So I was at the board game store and this guy goes, "Oh, if you want a really good one, it's made by the same people who make Hoot Out Hoot." And he told me about it, and I go, "You can stop right there. I'm going to buy this."
Right.
Thank you. I'm like, cool. I went in there to get some games for me. I walked out with 2 for Natalie. So
that's awesome.
Memory Palace, available at your local board game store.
That's what a good dad looks like.
That's right. Right here. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Drew, he might have gotten pulled away doing something, but he said, a moment ago, he said, "I don't think this is as easy as you guys are making it out to be." I'm assuming that was in reference to our throwdown. That's my guess. I said do tell, and then nothing. So my guess is that he got pulled away to do something. If that's the case, we will make sure that we document what he says, and we'll hear his argument.
Yeah, I'm awaiting your argument, Mr. Dull Moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, gang, thank you so much for listening. It's always a pleasure being here with you. Don't forget to check us out on all our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at MindGap Podcast. We're also on Twitch. We record every week. Come check us out. Usually it's on Tuesdays. Sometimes it's on Mondays. Who knows? Check our media, our social media.
Our social channels.
We usually announce it. And then also check out our YouTube page where we post our episodes as well as some other fun video content. Justin can also tell you about things that he does online via
Instagram and Twitter.
I switched it up this time.
Sorry, via Instagram and Twitter. You can find out what the fuck I do at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. Podcast, Stitcher,
Spotify,
and Google Podcast, wherever you can find podcasts and listen to them. Share us around. That is a big one for us. Please share us. Take a link and share it. Subscribe, review, rate, all those things. And then 2east8th.com/mindgap. And then also just follow 2east8th. That's the number 2, East 8th, like an address, 2east8th on all socials. We've got some fun stuff coming up. We've got 2 shorts in post-production. We got some more ideas coming up, and we were working with a couple fun, couple troops that you know, Chris and Matt, and a couple, a new one that you never heard of before.
Ooh.
They have some fun ideas coming up. So, we're keeping busy and we're doing good stuff.
Nice.
Done.
Super exciting. Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
Twitch, thank you. Podcast listeners, thank you. And we shall see you all next week.
Mind Gap Podcast.